In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to use the FIlterable portfolio module in the Divi builder. The FIlterable portfolio module works just like the normal portfolio module, except it adds filters at the top that allows you to switch between various categories of projects on the fly. So here's an example. The filters up here, which are the various categories that these projects exist in, and I can switch between them on the fly here to view various categories and filter them based on those categories. So that's the basic premise between the FIlterable portfolio module, and you can display it in two different formats: grid format as well as full width format or standard format here. So here's an example of a full width portfolio module with filters in a 2/3 column, and I can go through these filters and switch between the various categories. And here as well, when you get into smaller columns, those filters stack up instead, since they wouldn't actually fit all horizontally. Now, before you can actually use a portfolio module, you first have to create portfolio projects. And these are created using the project post type, which automatically gets added to WordPress when you install the Divi theme or Divi Builder plugin. So if you head over to your dashboard, you'll see on the left here you have a new projects tab. And projects are just like posts or pages. They're just a different type of post, a different post type as they are called in WordPress. And so Divi knows that these aren't blog posts, they're not pages, they're projects, and therefore we can kind of separate them in an easy way. And as you add new projects, they will automatically show up inside of your portfolio module. So if I go over to my projects, I can see all the projects that I've created, and you're going to want to make sure that you add your own projects. And just like when you create a post, you can use the Divi Builder or you can not. It's up to you. And you're going to want to add a featured image to that project, and that's the image that appears inside of the portfolio module as the thumbnail. So just to reiterate, before you can use any portfolio module, FIlterable or otherwise, you need to create some projects and add featured images to those projects, which will then appear inside the module as you see here. So there's that project I was just showing you, and that's the featured image of that project. So now let's dig into the actual module settings, and I'll show you how to create a page using this module. So here's an example of a page that I'm working on, and it's a Meet Our Team page, which basically goes over our company and our team. And in this case, I'm building this page for a imaginary web design company, and I want to display on our About Us page a quick glimpse at some of our projects so people know more, not just about who we are, but the work we do. And for that, I'm going to use the FIlterable portfolio module. And I'm going to add it right down here below our team and above this CTA module. So I'm going to edit the page. And then down at the bottom here, I'm going to add a new row. I'm going to make it a 1-column row. And then I'm going to click the Insert Modules button and look for that FIlterable portfolio module, which is right here. And once you click that, you'll be greeted with the module settings. Now, as with all Divi Builder modules, settings are broken up into 3 different tabs: General Settings, Advanced Design Settings, and Custom CSS. Now, as a general rule, everything you need to build an awesome page with the Divi Builder can be found inside the General Settings tab. But if you'd like even more control over the design of that module, and you'd like to customize various aspects of it, you can venture into the Advanced Design Settings, and you can do all kinds of great stuff here. You can customize absolutely everything: font sizes, colors, fonts, font weights, letter spacing, line height, anything you can think of you can modify here. And if you're CSS savvy and you'd rather just apply your own custom CSS to the module, you can do that as well inside the Custom CSS tab. Now, I have some great tutorials that go over both of these tabs and some creative ways to use them, so be sure to check those out. But in this tutorial, I'm really just going to focus on the general settings. So moving back here to the General Settings tab, let's go through each of these settings one by one. First up is the layout, and this lets you choose between 2 different layouts: full width and grid, which I showed you earlier. The grid being the one where the portfolio projects are broken into a 2, 3, or 4 column grid. So I'm going to switch to grid format because that's quite nice. And you can choose the post number. This is how many posts are displayed. In this case, I would like to display 8 projects, so 4 in each row. You can choose which categories to display. So just like posts, you can categorize your projects, and those categories become the filters at the top. So if you don't select any, it's just going to automatically display all of them, but you can also choose just to display a few if you'd like. Next up is the show title option. This will toggle on and off the title, which appears below the image. You can choose to show categories, as well as pagination, which appears below the portfolio module. And if you have, for example, if you have more portfolio items than the number you have chosen to display here, so a pagination will be used, and you can switch between pages. Next up is the text color. So depending on what background color you're using, you'll want to choose either dark or light text. And since I'm using a light background color, white to be specific, I want to keep a dark text color so that it shows up nicely. Finally, we have the admin label, CSS ID, and CSS class, which we won't be using in this tutorial. Now, while you build your module, at any time you can click the preview icon to get a quick look at what you're building. And so here it's rendered inside the parent section. So here we have our section, and at the bottom, the filterable portfolio module that I just added. And we can then exit the preview. And while you're in this preview, by the way, you can switch between our various responsive design testing tabs to get an idea what your module looks like at various screen sizes. So if I were to change to full width, for example, that's going to create a much different effect. As you can see down here, everything becomes big and full width. And since I really would rather have it consolidated a bit, I'm going to switch back to grid mode. And there we go. I'm going to save and then update the page, and we can take a look at what we created on the front end. So viewing our page, we have our nice about our team page, some info about our team, and then below that, some examples of our work, and finally the call to action module below that. So this looks really great. Now, like I said, and I'm just going to touch on it very briefly, you can also jump into those other tabs, those advanced design settings and CSS tabs, to really customize the appearance of the module, and you can customize absolutely everything. So the icon color, for example, which appears on hover, if I want to make that purple, and if I preview it now as I change that to purple, you can see that when I hover over this, the icon has become purple. Maybe I want to change the title font and make it bold and uppercase. You can do that as well. And if I were to preview that, again, you can see the changes on the fly as you make them. I've made my titles much larger and bolder, changed the font, and of course that icon hover color. And you can continue to customize anything about the module and really get it looking the way you want it to look. So yeah, that's a basic overview of the filterable portfolio module in the Divi Builder.